Stop being a weirdo. I know it's hard. Stop it.
Smell good.
Okay, if you're watching this on YouTube, you see that James is being a weirdo. If you're listening to the episode, then you don't see that he's being a weirdo, but I'm letting you know he's being a weirdo.
Oh, yeah.
Stop it. So, wanted to just drop in and tell you that this week's episode is a little different. It started off as a conversation that James and I had at the end of an episode in the studio. It was just like kind of a one-off. But then it took a life of its own and turned into a full-fledged episode with obviously Phil getting involved on the topic and whatnot.
We created a monster on this one.
We did. So the reason I'm here and James is here is to tell you that, you know, we have listeners who listen to our show in the car.
You millennials.
We do have a lot of millennials. Sometimes their kids are in the car. This is not one of those episodes that we would suggest you listen to with your kids in the car.
It's not graphic, but there is innuendo. It has to deal with adult dating.
And there might be questions you don't want to answer. So I would say, what is the thing? NSFW? Well, is that not sufficient for work, right? Okay.
Not safe for
Oh,
work.
is that what it is?
Yes.
I thought it was sufficient. Oh my God, this whole time
You can
I
tell
thought
you
it was
haven't been in
sufficient.
corporate America in over 20 years.
Anyway, enjoy this week's episode.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey listeners, ever wonder what it would be like to blow up your comfort zone at the tender age of 50? Well, we did just that. When our last kid went off to college, we hit the road in search of a new hometown. Now we bounce from city to city and bring you along for the ride. This is the Skiptown All-Stars podcast.
Whenever you're ready.
Are you on TikTok? This is so crazy. Since we started our podcast, you are like a TikToker.
I'm a TikToker.
That's
I mean, I'm not on it really per se. I don't post at all.
no, but you're on TikTok all the time.
It's
Oh,
the
James, you're the worst then. You're a lurker.
I am a lurker.
Oh, is that what is that
That's
the
what
term?
it's called. Yeah, man. You're a lurker. That's what it's called.
I am a lurker. I'm a lurker.
what do
it's
you
it's the
do look
first
at?
form of entertainment and the last form of entertainment I consume every day.
What are you looking at? I do want to look at your feed. I'm a little nervous, but what do you look at?
It's mostly just like construction guys doing how-tos or whatever. And then I do a lot of I dip into the Karen videos, like the Karen freaking out videos. I love those. The scariest thing in America 2023 is an enraged white woman.
Entitled, enraged white woman.
Yeah,
Okay, tell
exactly.
me really quick. What's your best Karen that you've seen on TikTok?
There was one where she just like came out freaking out that there were guys, they had like souped up cars or whatever, and they were just like going to their friend's house or something like that.
Yeah,
And
that'll do it.
She came out and she was like,
In her
whatever.
neighborhood. They were
Yeah.
in her neighborhood.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I hate to say it, they're kind of violent, but I also like the ones at the fast food joints where like the fast food worker doesn't take it and she like throws the food at them, and the next thing you know, she
fight ensues?
she either gets tossed out or knocked out.
Did
One of the
you
two.
see that? This literally just happened in the news like yesterday.
Oh,
What's that?
What is it?
So there was this Karen with purple hair. She was at a Chipotle and she threw. You know about this story?
No, absolutely
oh,
not.
she threw her
I
burrito.
saw
She
it.
slapped the manager with her burrito.
Yep.
Got arrested.
Yep.
The judge was like, "Okay, you have a 90-day sentence, right?
Yep.
You can spend 30 days in jail. You can spend the whole 90 days in jail, or you can spend 30 days in jail, and the other 60 days you can be working at a fast food restaurant."
What'd she pick?
She picked the 30 days in jail and working at a fast food restaurant.
Yep.
Do you
The
think
other
they'll
two.
make her go to Chipotle?
I'm not sure.
It's got to be a worse
Chipotle will
place.
Have her, but
Should
I
be a
think
worse
that-
place.
Yeah.
What's worse? Like what's considered a worse? What's a bad fast food place to
I think
work at?
Taco Bell would be rough, don't you think?
Burger King.
Burger King would probably be rough.
I guess anything open 24 hours. Is there anything
Definitely.
open 24 hours? They should give her the night shift at a
They should
24-hour
definitely.
place.
Cleaning the broiler and dealing with drunk customers.
So that's a crazy new like
That's a
Yeah.
really good punishment.
punishment. Yeah.
I
That's
saw
a
that.
really good punishment. Well, she picked it herself. You know, I'm kind of surprised because I would think a Karen would pick the full 30 in jail.
90 full
No,
90.
I'm sorry, 90 in jail.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I would think a Karen would go hard because that's what
If
makes
she
them a
dig
Karen.
in.
That's what makes them a Karen.
Yeah, well, they're also,
Crazy.
I mean, I think she wanted to get out of jail as soon as possible. most people tend to. But one of the things that I saw on TikTok and I know this has to be true. You know, a lot of women talk about how they want a man who's tall, dark, handsome, makes good money, all that stuff. So here's something. I don't know if these facts are real, but it was on TikTok, so I'm gonna talk about them anyway.
It must be. It must be real.
14. Did you know 14% of men in the U.S. are 6 feet or taller? This is what women say they want. By the way, a man over 6 feet. Let's qualify this. A man over 6 feet making $100K or more per year, good looking, wants to have a family, hasn't been married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that sounds about right. Like all of my daughters want that.
Well, they're 22, 24, so it could be in the cards for them, I guess, right?
I don't know. I mean, it's like,
If you're our age,
oh, our age?
you're
Oh,
not going to
forget
find
it.
that.
Heck
I know,
no.
which is why I
Heck
found
no.
it. Okay, so frankly, because, you know, just bring it back to the Gen X crowd.
Yeah.
You know, we have a lot of friends, male and female, who have been divorced or whatever. And, you know, they had this or maybe never married. And they have this thing where they're our age and they want another person of the opposite sex who hasn't been married.
That's hard at this age. Forget
Yeah,
it.
you're not going to get that. So
If they haven't been married, it's for a reason.
That's right. So you either get a settlement or you get a lot of baggage, or maybe both, depending
Okay.
on who. But anyway, going back to what American women want, and
Tell me about me. I want to hear this.
I don't begrudge them this at all, by the way. But 14% of men in the U.S. are 6 feet or taller. Okay,
It's a small percentage.
so that's 86% of guys on the market out of the block, right there, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna add some sound effects in here.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna check those boxes off for you and me.
Okay.
If we fit those or if we don't. So the first one, we
both fit.
fit the role for, you didn't hear it, but you'll fit the role for
Okay.
Ding.
6 foot.
I love it. Those that make $100,000 or more. Okay, just waiting for the tone. Unmarried or haven't been married, buzzer. Okay, so
Wants to have a family.
So 14% of U.S. men 6 feet or taller. Those that make out of that 14%, those that make 100K drops it down to 3%.
Oh my gosh. So there's
Yeah.
only 3% of 6 feet and taller men that make over $100,000.
Correct.
There's a
Most
lot
of them are professional
No,
athletes.
out of all the men,
only 3%.
only 3% of the men in the United States fit both those categories.
And that's only 3%.
Right.
Yeah,
But
that's
you
what I
said
said.
out of the, okay. So anyway, so we're clear. Unmarried or haven't been married drops it around 0.9%.
Oh.
Yeah. We're not talking about 20-year-olds, okay? We're not talking about Gen Z here. We're talking about millennials and up, right? And good looking and not overweight.
Oh, forget that. That's a unicorn.
All those things drops it to 0.3%. 0.03. 0.3. Take into account that there are 97 males for every 100 women in this country. So
There's not
now
enough men.
there's not enough, not only are there aren't even enough ugly men. There aren't even enough ugly poor men
Short.
to
There's
go
not even
around.
Enough ugly,
Right.
poor, short men.
Right. With like hair growing out of a mole
Okay.
on their face. There aren't even enough. And in all but 10 states, women outnumber men. So, you know, obviously you're Alaska.
Yeah.
It's probably more guys, right?
Texas.
Yeah. You think Texas?
I do think Texas has more men. I could be wrong.
Maybe. You could be right. I didn't look that up. That's
Okay.
not, that was not in the TikTok
Got
video
it.
I watched.
Oh, okay. Because it's true.
All that to say, though, percentage wise, it doesn't seem like it's looking good for American women out of what they want versus what's available just in the pool. I'm not even talking about whether or not they can get that. That's separate. I don't begrudge, like, you know,
I know.
I want a 6-bedroom house on 10 acres for $280,000, right?
Right.
So everybody wants what they want. I don't care if, you know, I'm just saying, percentage wise, probably not in the cards.
Wow.
So it looks like all the beautiful people in the world have already matched up with all the beautiful people in the world. Like, you know how celebrities are like 1%?
Maybe.
They took them all.
And you think
They-
the celebrities
they
took them all?
They took them all.
There were never that many to go around
No.
to begin with.
No, so they took them all.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Weird question though. Do you think that's why there's so much infidelity? Because I'm not blaming women. Please don't think that. A lot of
Oh,
women
no, I
are
would say
going out.
men contribute
Yeah,
most.
but I'm saying a lot of women going after the same guy because there's so little of them.
Ooh.
And then now that guy, he got all these options. He's
Especially
gonna
a good-looking rich guy.
He's going to exercise those rights, and that's why he ain't married.
Yeah.
And so that's why he could probably have a bunch of baby mamas.
He could have
You're
a bunch
right.
You
of
know,
them.
because he's in a very, very small percentage of men that
Yeah.
all these women are looking for.
Yeah, Phil, I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
I actually think Phil is onto something.
Melanie on Tuesday, Sandy on Wednesday, Laura on Thursday.
But who is it going to be when you're sick? None of them.
Mama.
Thank you.
You got to go back to your mom. Yeah.
Because Sandy and Melanie are not coming around when you have the flu.
Yeah. The downside to that is then your mom has to move in with you while you're sick. So, you have to put her in that extra bedroom, and that definitely, if mama gets used to living in your fancy big fat house because you're so wealthy.
Right?
Yikes. So that could explain a lot of things, like why there are so many people that are single and still waiting. Like, I mean, I've met women, pretty women, who have been single for years because they're looking for that one person because they got it wrong the first time. So they're not going to get it wrong the second time. But sounds like their options are very limited.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's the whole point of the stream of videos I saw posting this, because the expectations are just unrealistic.
I don't know. I'd pick short over wealthy and
pick
good
short
looking.
over wealthy?
I when I have to think about, like, because I even talk about it with my girls, like they're obviously very young, but you can't have everything. I tell them all the time, you can't have everything. Like, what is it that's the most important? They're all hung up on height. And I know it's because they're all tall. Well, I was tall, but I dated plenty of short guys. Like, I didn't care. I always felt like if a short guy was bold enough to want to take me out, let's do it. I wouldn't necessarily wear heels on that first date, but I was totally fine with it.
Short guys are not timid,
They are.
characteristically.
They're the most bold. Like, they're the ones that would walk up to me at a club. They'll walk up to me at a bar, and I would look around. I'm like, there's
Who's
other
talking to me? And then you'd look down. and there you-
100%. And I would be like, there's other short girls here. Why are you not talking to them? I never understood. I was like, oh, the short guys, they are bold.
They are.
Do
They're
you
not
remember,
afraid.
do you remember one time your friend whose brother was really short?
Lou.
Yeah, walked up to me and pinched my cheeks, like on my face, and he goes, "You're so cute." And he had to get on his tippy toes, and I was like, I liked him. I was like, oh, okay.
Lou's awesome. He's a great guy. I didn't even mind.
No, you did not mind.
I didn't. He was like, what did he call you? A cute baby all night.
I guess he was like, cute baby. And I was like, oh, I'm like 6 feet tall and you're 5 feet tall.
Lou's done very well for himself. I think he has a beautiful wife now and everything.
Somebody once said to me, if he's wealthy, he can stand on his wallet. And I was like, oh, if he's short and wealthy, he can
That's what I
stand on his
said.
wallet. And I was like,
There was one guy in particular who was interested in you at one point, even though he knew you had 1 trillion kids and you were married to me, living in the burbs. But I said to you, you stay away from him, because even though he was a short guy, he was a lot taller at dinner sitting on that wallet.
yeah, he
For
did
sure.
say that. So
Yeah.
when he would say hi to me at the schoolyard, James was like, stop talking to him. And
Yeah. I'm like, you stay away from him.
But yeah, I don't know. I think we all have to, like, I think everyone kind of has to settle. You're not going to get, if there's only 0.3% or whatever it is, you're not, unless you're a supermodel, you're not going to get it. So what do you settle on? What do you settle on, Phil?
Would be if you had Phil, you're married, but if you had to settle, if you were in the mix right now and you had to pick, if there are 5 categories for the perfect woman, which one would you throw out first?
Oh man. So I'm a demisexual. So
What is that?
Oh, that
Okay.
means you like smart people.
Well, no, that's a sapiosexual. But
What's a
a
demisexual?
demisexual is someone who's only attracted to people who they form deep emotional connections with.
Oh my God, I'm in
So-
love with Phil.
So,
You're every woman's dream.
but
I'm every woman's nightmare.
You are. For sure.
But I didn't realize this until I was older, right?
Right.
Because if you ever looked at the women that I've dated, they are all completely different. I've dated a purple hair Cuban lady. I've dated Jewish women. You know what I'm saying? I've dated black. I'm married to a black woman. You know what I'm saying? So Asian.
so
women.
you really have an emotional
So
connection.
I will not.
You don't
I
have a
will
type.
not be physically attracted to you. You literally could be Giselle, and I will not be physically attracted to you unless we form a emotional connection. Then
That's amazing.
you know, you could have you won't even need to fit all of those things that I like. You know, obviously I'm a man. I like looking at women on TikTok shaking their boobs and butt and stuff like that. Of course, but that's not like a standard. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? That's just extra.
Okay, so let's say you got that emotional connection. What other things could you settle on if you
Yeah,
had
'cause
that?
it sounds like that's not something you would settle on.
No, that's number one for you, the emotional connection. So
Yeah.
what are like some other things that you, like, do they have to be a moneymaker? Do they have to
Not have kids. Do
not
they have
yeah,
to
like
this?
what is
They
like
have to that?
like what would be okay. Yeah, what would be I guess like
Okay.
where you would say
So if I was single,
Yeah.
no children,
Yeah.
whatever. I believe I'm a more traditional person than 50-50. That's just because of my situation now. It's that way.
Right.
But I wouldn't be opposed to. I'm open. You know, whatever works for us would be great. But you have to be able to. I need a cheerleader and a coach.
aw,
Right?
okay. I think everybody does. That's awesome. That's true.
Respect is definitely a huge thing for me. Not fear. I know respect is categorized as a little bit of fear and admiration, but respect, treat me like you want to be treated.
Right.
You know, I definitely like people who have certain similar things in common, so I can actually have a conversation with you, an intellectual conversation with you.
Yes.
Not anything just superficial. Like I can't connect with that because I have ADD. So if you're talking to me something I'm not interested in, you're gonna know.
You're gonna get the
Oh,
glazed
nice.
overlook.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And-
Phil, your waters run deep, bruh.
I try, man. I try. But yeah, I'm not really huge into like, you gotta, I don't, height wise, don't care because I'm a tall guy. I'm going to be taller than you anyway. You know, I'm going to be heavier than you anyway. So it doesn't really matter to me. You know, you could be black, white, because I grew up in a
Right.
town where it was super diverse. Everybody
Okay.
was dating everybody,
Okay.
you know, at that time, you know. And so culture wise, I blend in with a lot of different cultures because I'm not just like, black guy
Got it.
does this, you know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I have a very high intellect, like intelligence level, so I can vibe with those type of people too.
Right.
You know, and so I'm kind of, you can call me unicorn, it's okay, but like it's
You are.
it's
Nobody was
it's
calling
different.
you a unicorn.
I know, but I call myself that. I'm sorry. But no, I don't have really huge preferences in women. So if I do end up falling for somebody, we got to have a conversation on why I did it because it's our emotional connection, really. So
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
That's
I'm
amazing.
way more superficial
Oh, you
than that.
completely.
I am way more superficial than that.
I mean, but I do like big boobs.
I would say the first thing I would throw out, well, you know, proof is in the pudding. First thing I would throw out
I
is
saw your
someone-
girlfriends before.
proof
You're
is,
not.
proof is in the pudding. I would throw out someone who's nice. Like, I don't care if they're nice.
James. Oh my God.
what?
Okay, Phil, we do say this a lot. He always says to me, if you and I split, I'm not going for pretty, I'm just going for nice.
Yep.
That's what he's
She's mean to me, Phil. She's mean.
The pretty ones are.
They are. They always are. They're little. They say that one sentence that'll just like
Or it's the
make
silence.
you bleed the rest of the day.
I know, they hurt.
And you can't show it. You can't reveal it because
All
you
right.
know. Anyway,
So, okay,
I'm just kidding.
You're digressing.
I'm totally kidding.
Okay,
So,
but would you go, what's height? Height matter?
you're
You're a tall guy. You're like Phil.
I'm a big
You're tall.
guy. Yeah, I'm tall.
Would you date a 5-foot girl though? Like
I probably would
Shaq
not.
dated his wife is like 2 feet tall.
That looks creepy. That looks a little pedo to me. I would not do that.
Did you say it looks big?
It does look a little pedo.
I do think it's weird when a big tall guy is with a little girl.
So
I
you
do
would
think
you
that's
wouldn't you
weird.
wouldn't date a little person?
Probably not. No. I mean,
What's the
There it
height?
is. That's the standard.
What's the height minimum? You have a height minimum. What is it?
oh, I don't know the minimum, but it's like
You have to.
when it reaches ridiculous, then no. It's like, yeah. I mean, I had a football coach. He was a great guy, and his wife was amazing, but she was a peanut compared to him.
That's
And
weird.
yeah, and I was just like, how does this work?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how this works. And they had a lot of beautiful kids together and everything, so it worked somehow.
Works
but- I'm like, I can't envision it. So
Okay, but you do have a height requirement. So I'm going to guess
I
your
do.
height.
I prefer taller women.
Okay, I
for
would
sure.
say your height requirement is probably minimum. Like you can't go below 5'5".
I don't think I would ever go below 5'5". No,
Okay.
I don't even know if I would go below 5'8". To be honest,
Oh, see, you have a height requirement.
But they can't help that though.
I
Okay,
know, but I can.
So you're out on a blind. You're out on a date,
Yeah.
and she's amazing,
Yeah.
but she's 5'5".
It's not a deal breaker. I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker at all.
What's the deal breaker?
Amazing is amazing. I mean, if you get amazing, you
How
gotta
they
latch
tip.
onto amazing. So
If we ever go out and we go Dutch, how they tip is the deal breaker.
Oh, Phil,
or
that's
how they treat service staff. Yeah, that's a deal breaker.
Oh, I like that.
I don't like people that
Because
talk
that
down
tells
to waitresses.
Yeah,
and
that tells
barmaids.
you about their character, and that's something that
Yeah,
they learn from their environment. But that's
Yeah.
a huge deal breaker.
That's a good
I'm
point.
taking that from him. That is a huge deal breaker.
yeah.
We've been out with people who
You tip well. You're a 20-25% tipper.
always.
Yeah. So, and you've always been that way, but which was great because I used to work in the restaurant industry, and it's like I appreciate people who respect that, male or like I don't like being out with buddies who treat the wait staff poorly or call them sweetie or honey or whatever. It's like girls don't want to be treated that way. So
Denise, I want to ask you a personal question.
Yeah.
Is that your natural hair color?
Yeah. I mean, my hair color is brown, but I do have gray because I'm like.
Well, I mean,
older.
but that's your.
She's
birth,
always been
that's your
brunette.
birth.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have any preferences for like
absolutely
hair color?
I was always a brunette person. Yeah, almost always. I dated. I was like you. I dated girls of all different persuasions or whatever, and obviously different hair colors. But yeah, I always like any. If you look back on my history of like, de facto girlfriends that I dated for a good long while, I had 3 girlfriends.
He has a type, Phil. They all look like me.
I
He
had
has
one
a
in
type.
high school,
Uh-huh.
I had one in college, and I had one after college before I met Denise, and they were all white on rice girls with brunette hair.
Yeah.
So
They're
yeah.
all, yeah. I saw there was a couple in there that were a couple blondes, but yeah. And when I met him, I thought to myself, this guy dates blondes. I don't know why. I just thought that. Like I've always thought
I give
pictured
that
you,
off.
You 100% give that off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because I'm so fun loving.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. Blondes love fun. Blondes are fun.
They are fun.
Yeah. Most of the blondes we know, even, friends in our personal lives or whatever, they're all fun people.
They are.
One thing though, I did forget. I used to date older, much
Ooh.
older.
Like how much older? 10 years?
So one of my first sexual encounters. I was 17. I was with a 40-year-old. So that was like,
That's not right.
I mean, I was an
was-
adult.
I had
Oh
that
my
going. I had that
God.
going on.
But
You
I
were
look like-
17.
I
You
look
weren't
like
an-
this, though.
You were 17. You weren't an adult yet.
Come on.
He was a man.
I guess if you did
Yeah.
look like that. You were the same
I look
height.
like
You're
this.
right.
Yeah.
Wow, 40. I have so many questions about
I always
that.
had crushes on. I always had crushes on older women.
Yo,
in
my
20s.
teachers.
They would hit on you, your teachers.
Didn't I show y'all my picture of me in high school?
No.
Were you ripped?
Oh, I'll show you.
Okay.
It literally is this.
Wow.
That's what you looked like then. I haven't changed in 20 years.
I'm gonna text you a
That's
picture of it.
amazing. So you had high school teachers hitting on you. Holy cow.
I never had that. I wish I would have, because Miss Milo in the art department, she was beautiful.
Oh, didn't work out.
Did not.
You were a student.
She was not respecting my advances at all.
Thank God. She would have gotten fired, had she?
I know.
She was more concerned about her paycheck.
Legit.
I think guys are oblivious to that too when they get hit on by women because it's so rare that it happens.
Yeah.
Do you think they're oblivious?
Oh God, yes. You know how I've had so many women text me like later. You know how to crush me? I'm like, no.
Are you
I know.
serious?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Never knew. Never knew.
What does it take for you guys to know that a woman is interested? I'm curious, both of you. Like, what does it take? 'Cause
Ooh, that's a good question. We still don't even know.
wow.
I don't know. Maybe if you're close, you touch my shoulder. I don't know. You
That okay. So
Tell me you
learned
like spending time with
I
me?
learned on TikTok that if a woman touches you, like if she laughs and pats you on the shoulder or whatever, that means she likes you. It doesn't necessarily mean she wants to have sex with you, but it definitely means that she
Is open
enjoys your company.
to a relationship.
Yes.
Oh man, yeah. I was completely.
You were touched all the time probably and had no idea.
Yo. It was.
Well, it's tough when you're younger because everybody's a hugger. When you're like late teens to mid 20s.
No.
Really? Like
Oh, no.
everybody in college that I hung out with, like we were all like the girls would hug the guys. We all hugged each other every time we saw each other.
Oh, when you
can
walk
never
in the
tell.
door, but if you're in the middle of the night and it's like 4 hours in,
If
and
you're in
she's
the
still,
middle of the night and someone's hugging you, I think that says a lot, don't you?
you know what
like,
I
I think
mean?
that's when you know.
I don't mean the middle of the night in bed. I mean like if you're in the middle of a party and she is hugging on you, yes. But when you walk in a door, no, that does not mean someone likes you because they give you a high hug. No, a high hug does not mean that they like you. If you've had a couple cocktails and they start hugging on you, that's different.
James, I
when-
just sent you a text. Look. I sent this to James.
Oh,
Show
okay.
it to Denise. It's the bottom picture of me. That's me in high school.
Let me
If you
see
want to
this.
take a look at that photo there.
Oh shoot! Who looks gangsta?
Oh, Kip.
Kip. You just called
Oh
him
my
Kip.
God, did I call him Kip?
You just called him
I
Kip.
swear he looks like Kip, doesn't he?
He reminds
It's
me so much of Kip.
crazy.
Yeah, that
Oh my
was
God,
me in high
Phil,
school.
How old were you in this picture?
15 or 16.
That's weird. Who are you with in that photo?
Her name is.
No, that's like you'd like your mom or anybody like
no,
that, right?
she's
Like-
another student. Yeah.
Wait, she looks older too.
She does. She looks
what
older.
the heck is going on? She looks older. Oh my gosh. You guys, what were you drinking
Phil,
in
did
the
you look
water?
like you were smoking Marlboros at age 6?
So
I
that
cannot believe
picture.
you were 16 in this photo.
So
No,
that
he
that
looks
picture
older.
is
That's
from our senior breakfast. Did y'all have
Okay,
a
Oh,
so you
senior
that's
were
breakfast?
weird.
17.
So we
Okay.
had to dress up. I was Suge Knight, so that's what the red suit.
That's the first thing I thought of when I saw
I
the
know.
photo.
I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, he looks.
Remind me to send this to you guys. You guys can put it. James edit.
Yeah,
it.
Send me- I'll
Okay,
clean it up. I got
This
it.
is crazy. Like you look like a man, a 35-year-old man at 16.
Yeah. So
At this age, according to TikTok, the only thing you were missing was the 100K a year.
That's it.
Yeah.
You were tall, handsome.
You had it all.
You wanted to get married. Yeah, you right. Like you wanted to have a family one day, even as a young
course.
person, right?
yeah.
Oh yeah, you had everything except the
He was an
100K.
emotional file.
He was.
Okay, one thing I need to ask, because I hear the term tall, dark, and handsome, right?
Yeah.
But white people have a different
Oh, yeah.
It's dark
term
hair.
for that.
Yeah, it's
They
dark
meant like
hair.
something
What
like
they mean
Ben
is tall-
Affleck. I thought you were talking about like a brother. or
What they
something.
mean is tall, Aryan, and handsome.
Oh, okay.
So they mean like the Dark Knight. They mean Christian Bale. They mean Ben Affleck. Like when they say dark, they mean dark hair. Yeah, it's tall,
that's
dark,
all.
and
It's
handsome.
a dark
Yeah.
hair.
Yeah.
So
Got
I don't
it.
know. It's 2023 though. I think now it could be interpreted.
I don't
anyway.
think so. I don't think
grew up
any
in some-
young kids are going to say someone's dark.
Tall, dark, and handsome.
They wouldn't mean like someone who's like
You can't say
different-
tall, dark, and handsome anymore. Is that what you're saying?
You can, but
I
it
have
still
not seen
means
that on
dark
TikTok.
hair. It doesn't mean a dark person of color.
I always thought it was dark skin.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh no, it means dark hair.
I'm like, why? I'm like, all these white women want brothers. Okay.
That's probably
That is
true.
true. That
That's
is true.
probably true.
that is true, but the term is really dark hair.
Got it.
Yeah. For me, I think if I were single, looks never mattered. And if you saw some of my old boyfriends,
It's true.
a couple of them are really ugly. And then I dated a really short, like I went on a couple dates with this really short guy. Like literally, he came up to my shoulders. But he made so much money. He pulled up in a Mercedes, and on our very first date, he wore one of those janitor jumpsuits. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, he is so cute.
Oh my God.
And he didn't care that I was tall. It did not bother him at all. I was literally 1 foot taller than him, I swear.
Yeah.
Have y'all heard of the 80-20 rule?
No.
So this applies in marriage as well. So whatever you want, let's say 100% of what you want, it could be the tall, dark, handsome, six
Yeah.
figures, 6 inches, all those things. You're gonna only get 80% of that.
You're only going to get 80%.
Yeah, you're only gonna get 80% of that. And so
Well, that makes sense.
if
Wow.
if you're married, and what a lot of people when they cheat is that they seek out that 20%, and then they
Wow.
don't
Jeff Bezos.
and then they don't realize that they had the 80%, and they just ruin their marriage.
So they risk
because
the
were just
80
going
for
over
the 20.
Yeah, 80-20.
Did Jeff Bezos go outside of his marriage with that girl, Laura
Didn't
Sanchez?
he cheat?
I don't know if he did.
Oh.
I'm not sure.
Oh,
I thought they got a divorce
could
and
be
he
wrong.
met her. Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry,
Okay.
Jeff. Don't cancel my Amazon account.
Oh, too late.
The 20, so people leave the 80% for 20%. That's really fascinating. I did not know that, but I 100% believe that to be true. Because that 20%, she generally only really is 20%. Like, or he, like whoever that, I've yet to meet anyone.
I am definitely Mr. 20%.
What do you mean?
I'm just kidding. You get 20% of what you want.
No, I'm saying if it goes back to the cheating, what Phil is saying about the cheating, when you go for that 20%, it generally, that person really does only offer the 20% because they may give you the love and affection maybe you're not getting from your wife or husband, or they may have the beauty that your spouse doesn't have, like they're slender, they have long hair, whatever you equate beauty to,
Right.
or big boobs, like whatever it is, but they don't cook for you, provide income to be an equal partner, are kind to your family, want to have a kid. Like they really only bring that 20% because I've yet to meet anyone in my adult life, you know, or even when I was in my 30s who's left a partner and stayed with that person.
It's pretty rare.
It's like they've
pretty rare.
left the partner and they've gone on to someone else after cheating on that partner, but to have left the partner and stayed with that person,
It's pretty rare.
that's kind of incredible, Phil. I think that is really accurate. Like they probably truly only get that 20% as well. Not like he's saying you leave for the 20. And I'm like, that person probably only really does provide the 20.
right.
I don't know. That's a very, I got to look into this now.
Yeah,
Now you've got me.
You always heard the grass isn't always greener. That's the
I know.
thing, you know?
It is true. Yeah. I don't know. I've never been a looks person. It's just not me. I've never in my entire life like based any of my relationships on looks. I just always based them on how fun the person was, how nice they were. You're probably like one of the cutest people I've ever dated. I mean, I dated someone before you, but he stole cars. And so that
he
was
cuter
very
than me,
good
but he was a
looking.
criminal.
he was very good looking, but he stole cars.
At least I operate within the bounds of the laws most days.
Yeah. So,
good.
but it just like never, looks didn't really appeal to me. I didn't care.
So maybe you're a demisexual too.
Maybe I didn't know there was a term for it.
You definitely like people smart.
I wanted
like me.
substance. I always went for substance.
Same here, man.
Look what you got.
I know. I got a whole lot.
You
of
got.
it.
You're gonna get that 20% somewhere else, I presume.
And I think social media ruined it. Ruined a lot of it. Everything is so superficial nowadays.
Yeah.
So
It's true.
You can't look at social media and
shallow.
think that that's going to be your norm. That's just terrible. You're going to be so depressed.
I have to be honest. If social media existed when I was younger and not married and dating and all that, I think I would have been just an unbridled train wreck.
you'd be a menace.
I would be not in.
You'd be lonely.
I think
that's what you would be.
I think I would have very tested relationships. Definitely.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
Like,
Tested?
in terms of like, I think I would toxic. I would have toxicity in my life. I think.
Why would you just?
Because I just like I know who I was when I was in my 20s, in my late teens and all that, and I wasn't like Phil. I wasn't emotionally mature enough to sort of share myself with a partner that way, and so.
It required a lot of work on my part. Okay.
It did.
Please.
Yeah,
Do you think that's like environment though? Like,
definitely, without question.
because when I moved here in 2006, I moved out of my mom's house in 2006 in Florida to get my own place with a roommate. We were all around UCF days. So party culture, all that
Yeah.
stuff. I never did any of that because I was like, I don't want to. And it wasn't like because I was afraid or anything like that. It's just
Didn't interest you.
I never felt that was like a rite of passage for me to be an adult. I was like,
You didn't need it.
I didn't need it. And so I felt out of place.
Yeah.
I felt out of place with my roommate. So that's like, is it like an environment thing? Like,
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it was definitely a situation. Oh my gosh, you're getting into therapy. I might as well just lay down on the couch.
here we go.
I didn't get a ton of validation or attention from my family at all. And so when I got to a certain age and realized like, okay, I have the gift of gab and I'm good looking enough to, date girls in college that I really want to try to date.
Yeah.
The problem was the attention that they would give me was never enough. It was like all of a sudden I was addicted to finally having the attention. And so it wasn't until, like there was a period of time I had a high school girlfriend for 3 years. Then I had a gap of a couple years. In that couple years, it was just like, I mean, when they say I was young, I mean, it was like you could play the field and you can do whatever, and that was fine. But it wasn't until I met my college girlfriend where I was finally like, okay, you know, this like fills in some of the empty holes inside my soul.
What's the longest period of time you had in between relationships, though? Like since high school?
2.5, 3 years. So I had a girlfriend for 3 years. Then I had a break of 2 years, and then another girlfriend for 3 years, and then another break for 2 years. So 3-2, 3-2. And then I think it was a couple years. I didn't date her. The third girlfriend I didn't date very long, maybe a year and a half,
Okay.
2 years. And then I had like a gap of maybe 3 years before I met Denise. So
What about
It's
you,
a
Denise?
long time to play the field, my friend.
What about you, though?
I'm a relationship person. Are you kidding? Oh, no. Like, first boyfriend, 6
Denise
years.
is a mover in her.
Yeah, first boyfriend, 6 years. Second boyfriend, 2.5 years. And then I had like a couple guys that I dated before I met
That
James.
you dabbled around with.
That I dated when I met James. But I wasn't really like that person. I did not sleep around. I didn't do one night stands. That just wasn't me. I was selective.
I want to talk about that too.
What?
Not that like your history, but just
Oh.
that in general.
Well, I just was selective. I honestly I wanted to be in love, so I couldn't just sleep with somebody. That was just not me. God, we're getting so deep. I'm just not that type of person. I wasn't like that ever in my whole life. Like I enjoy being with just one person. So
Me too.
even now, like I think to myself, if James had left me, I'd get married again because I love being in love. Like I like that. So that's just who I am. So I wouldn't want to be alone. I like being like around that special person. So yeah. So I was single only for 6 months. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Kevin counts. I'm not sure.
Kevin, poor Kevin.
I don't know if Kevin
Kevin
counts.
doesn't even know where he stands.
He's unsubscribing right
After
now.
all these years, Kevin is still wondering what is wrong with
Okay,
you.
I don't know.
Poor
But okay,
Kevin.
because we weren't super
I feel bad for Kevin. Like, what the hell's wrong with me?
Anyway, I'm gonna say I was single for like 6 or 7 months before when I met James, and then I wasn't even sure about him because he like just gave me all the vibes that like he wasn't serious about a
I
relationship.
gave her all the wrong vibes.
So
She
I-
dumped me like 7 times.
I did. He kept
So-
coming back. I was a challenge for him, and I was like, no, we're not playing this game.
Oh,
And we did.
You
And
won.
yes,
you
we
won.
were absolutely going to play that game.
You won.
Yeah.
wow.
So she was the first one who ever called me on my BS. So naturally, she had to be my wife. She had to be the one. That's all it took.
I was going on a date with somebody, literally going on a date, and I had to break up with him like right before the date. And the guy I was going on the date with, he knew about him.
You were double dipping?
I was. And
Double dipping.
Yeah. So he said, well, what time is he coming over so you can break up with him? I'm like, he'll be here at 5. Don't worry. I'll meet you at 7. And he was like, okay, no problem. And so I break up with him at my apartment, and I'm like, he got to go. Cause I'm like, I got to get dressed. I got to go on this other date. And so then I was like, you got to go. And then he was like, whoa, hold on. I'm like, what is there to talk about? I just broke up with you. And he was like, I want to talk about it. I was like, oh my God. And there was
Well,
no
she broke up with me because she didn't think I would be. She thought I was just going to date her, and then eventually it would fizzle out. Like she knew that I had no intention of getting married, and so then I was like, all right, like look, let's just talk about it.
No,
And she
my
was
whole
like,
my whole point was I want to get married one day. It wasn't like that day or the next day, but I want to get married one day. So I want to meet
you
a
didn't
guy.
want to be with somebody who planted the flag and said
Yes.
this will never happen. You didn't want to be with somebody where you knew that was never an option.
Yeah. So I said there are plenty of girls who don't want to get married. I'm just not one of them. So like there's no point in seeing each other anymore. I mean, it was really super simple. It was just that. And I was like, I got to go.
Yeah.
And then he was like, no, let's talk about it.
And
And then
a
I had
year
to
later
go.
in Florida.
And then I had to go run in my bedroom, and I was like, Brandon, I cannot. He's still here.
Oh my gosh. That is insane.
No.
Holy crap.
And people look at me like I'm the questionable one in the relationship.
And then I had to tell him the next day that you and I were back together.
We consummated our relationship.
I did not say that, and I don't even think that happened. But I did have to tell him the next day that we were back together.
Oh, poor Brandon.
I know.
Poor Brandon.
Oh man.
But so that was me. I mean, I'm just relationship person.
So James, I think we look at some of the same videos on TikTok because it just happens to be in our feed.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure, it does.
So it's always like the guy on the street interviewing a bunch of women, or a podcast guy interviewing a bunch of bimbos, right?
Yeah.
It's so I wanted to ask the both of y'all, because this is what modern people are talking about. All you young folks out there
On social media.
about like body counts and stuff. Like, does that even matter? Like, do y'all think it matters? So, because we're
We're older though.
y'all are older than me, right? And then I'm the millennial, and then we have our younger generation. So did that ever, or does that ever matter? Did that conversation ever happen? How do y'all feel about that from
Okay.
from
Can I
your
go
perspective,
Go
and then
ahead.
from a what do you think
Yeah.
how the young people handle it?
I think as Gen Xers, we were taught that it should matter. And I think as we grew, we realized it doesn't matter at all.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's your opinion.
that is my opinion.
Okay.
Do you think it matters to Gen Xers?
Growing up, it always mattered. And I also knew growing up, guys always add 20 to their number and girls always subtract 10.
That's true.
So it was never accurate number anyway.
That's true.
But if a guy slept around, this is just me. I'm just talking about me. I was not interested. Not interested at all. So you could have slept with my best friend and really wanted to have a relationship with me. Slept with her, but wanted to have bring me home to your mom. That was never going to happen because I know you slept with her, and I know you slept with 5 other girls like 2
Yeah, but
weeks
you're going
before.
into friend zone stuff there. That's different.
Didn't matter if they were friends or not. If they slept around, I'm using that as
I
a
know.
poor example. But
I know what you're saying.
for me, yes, for me it matters. But I come from the generation where it was meant to matter.
Oh.
So for me it matters. Numbers always mattered.
I was just looking at it from the standpoint of, I'm sorry, I misinterpreted the question, I think. But I was looking at it from the standpoint, like, look, let's be honest. With guys, it never mattered, right? There was always a double standard. But if a girl
That's what he's
had
asking
multiple
you.
boyfriends.
That's what he's asking you.
Yeah. I would say in this day and age, I think women should have as much a right to their sexuality as
He's
as a guy.
asking you when you were a young person, did it matter? That's what he's asking you.
Yeah, of course it mattered. There's a double standard.
So it did matter.
Eventually, yeah, but then eventually, like I said, my
So if you knew
answer
it-
is still the same, but I was answering it from the context of like generational, or like, what we were taught versus what we really realized was true.
Okay, but you married somebody who didn't sleep around. But did you date girls who did sleep around?
But
ever?
You and I've never asked you how many people you've slept
Yeah, but
with.
you
ever.
deduced it over the years, basically how many people I slept with. So
I have no way of knowing that even still to this day.
Okay.
I've never asked, and it wasn't a factor.
if I gave off the impression that I had many, many suitors, would that have been appealing to you?
If you were a habitual dater before you met me
Mm-hmm.
and all that other stuff, like I knew you were in almost as many, or actually I think exactly as many prior relationships as I had. So
You knew that.
I did know that, but that
Okay.
doesn't mean I knew your body count.
Okay, let's go back. You're like dancing
I'm
around
not.
the question.
I'm just saying, did
Okay,
it
just
matter?
answer
No, it
yes
didn't
or no.
matter because I never asked you, and I still wouldn't ask you. and
So
I
if
don't
you
care.
knew a girl had a lot of body count, had a big body count
If I knew that,
ahead of time, yeah,
it probably would have mattered to me in my 20s. Yeah.
in your 30s when you're looking for a wife.
I don't think as much. Do you?
Oh, my answer is different. My
Yeah.
answer is way different. My answer is yes, it does matter.
You and I married fairly young. I mean, in our circle of friends, we got married when we were 29, 30 years old. If we had waited until we were 35, I don't think it would
It
have
still
mattered.
matters. I'm 54, and if I met a guy, if I were single right now, and I had a choice between two guys, one that had been, married for a long period of time, and one that had been married for a short period of time, and I knew he was very sexually active on all a single time, I wouldn't be interested. It's just not. I find it to be a huge turnoff. I found it to be a turnoff in my 20s. I find it to be a turnoff at 54. I haven't changed in that aspect.
I just think there's no way you could ever truly know. Like, I'm just looking at it, if I were in the same situation, looking at women, right? Like, which woman am I going to date? I don't know. I mean, I have no way of truly. First off, women are vaults when it comes to secrets, and so.
But would
more
you
so than
pick
men.
somebody who, same exact scenario, would you pick a woman who was married for a long period of time? Or would you had the same two of them? You had they're both equally
I'm not sure that would be a factor for me. That's what I'm saying.
because you're a guy. right? No, not really, because you actually, in the beginning, though, in your 20s, it was a factor. So I can't even say that.
You know, I think at this point, I think early on, because you know, like it's weird to say when you're picking your first wife, it's like, you know, it's your first.
It matters.
It's your first Camaro. It's your first pair of Air Jordans. It's your first. Like you want it to be everything to be immaculate and pristine. After you've been married for a long time, you
Doesn't
realize
matter.
like a lot of that stuff falls away, and what you really want is just someone you can count on that you could ride bikes with, who is there for you and treats you the way you want to be treated. So I don't know. I mean, I just don't think someone's past in the bedroom like that would be as much of a factor for me.
Oh, it's a factor for me. What about you, Phil?
All right, so I may paraphrase some of these things. So I may have a different perspective, and it's not a negative one. It's just a reason why certain men think that body count matters. And I'm not saying this is my perspective.
Yeah.
I'm just regurgitating what I heard and kind of paraphrasing it.
Totally.
So the reason why body count matters to men is because if a woman has a lot of sexual partners, okay, let me rephrase. It's easier for a woman to get laid than a man.
Truth.
So the reason why men see it as an achievement to have higher sexual partners is because they earned it.
It
You
They
know,
worked really hard.
they
for it.
worked really
Right.
hard for it. You
It
know,
proves their manliness.
And they
and-
took a lot of ladies out to dinner.
And for a woman to have high, you know, a woman can just call somebody up and say, let's bang it out, you know, and so it doesn't really show that there's
Much
I'm trying
work
to think-
put into it. Like,
Yes,
it's very
it's
easy.
easier to for a woman. It's a lot easier. So for her to be able to have a lot of sexual partners, it means that she
She never said no.
is easier,
Right.
you know, and maybe not worth the what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe not worth the journey,
Well, you're
you know.
Okay, but you're younger than us. Do
Yeah.
people still feel that way? Because you're a millennial. We're Gen X. So he just basically said it was important for the Gen X generation. Numbers mattered. You're a millennial. Does it still matter?
I have never asked any of my
No, but the
Partners,
men in
but-
your circle, like are these conversations that millennials are still having.
oh man, this is what the podcast bros are all talking about now. So I don't know if
So
that's
it still
what they
matters.
are. It still matters to them. To me,
Wow.
no, but I think it does because now this is the type of time my age where people are either getting in their first marriage or getting out of their first marriage.
Okay.
You know, so you know whether or not they're leaving their first marriage and then now going into uncharted territories. If a person has a lot of sexual partners, you're like, I'm not that experienced because I was married for so long.
Yes,
Right.
that is
So
true.
I want
Yeah.
someone who doesn't have a lot of experience like me, so we can, I guess,
Grow together.
grow together.
be boring together.
Yeah, but I just it's so weird.
Is
though.
it
I've
boring
never asked.
if you don't have a lot of sexual partners? Was I boring?
I'm just.
I want y'all to
That's
guess.
like the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Guess mine. Guess. Guess my body count.
I would say.
Go ahead, guess.
Honestly, you're a relationship person.
So I've been with Lucia since I was 24. So one since that.
and you're more of a mind person. So you married since you were 20, went with her since you were 24.
4. I'm going low.
7.
You saw my high school photo, right?
Yeah.
I did.
Okay, I was a menace.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
12.
A little higher,
Oh, 20.
a little lower.
18.
17.
Oh, okay.
17.
That's not that bad.
No.
I don't think that's bad. That's like you. Okay, so.
And when I moved to Florida, oh my God, the Brazilians, just saying.
All right, so 17 in 7 years. I'm saying you're like, you started when you were, roughly 17 years old. So you had 10 partners a year for 7 years.
Wait, hold on. What?
That's about right. No, I'm sorry. No, that's wrong. Oh my
wrong.
gosh, that's too many. What
many.
am I saying? For 7, okay,
2.5.
so 2.5. That's like nothing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And majority of that was like in 1 year.
Yeah, in 1 year.
It was a bumper crop that year.
I'm telling you, when I first moved here, it was a whole new world, man.
Was it? Everybody was after you.
Well, just the way that people, it was such a big culture shock.
Right.
Coming from Virginia, there's
Yeah.
a lot of Asians and Black and Hispanics, but here everybody is here. And I've never met a Brazilian until I moved here. And then
And then your life changed.
I'm like, I worked at Universal, so we had all that, and it was just
yes.
like, yeah. And I was young. I was 19.
A lot of pretty people.
Theme
Oh my
park
God, yeah.
love.
Yeah, a lot of pretty people working
love
at
it.
Universal. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my body count.
So the moral of the story: do you think women or ladies on TikTok are going to find the love they want with their criteria?
They're gonna find love, but they're not gonna find the love they want. They're gonna have to mitigate their
They
expectations.
have to compromise. They're going to have to compromise. I think people always compromise on looks and take wealth, but I could be wrong.
I think you're probably right, actually.
I'd rather be comfortable and with like an average guy than like with a hot guy and having to work the night shift somewhere making $3 an hour.
Yeah, that happens. I was going to say that earlier when we were talking about category, like criteria. Plenty of good-looking guys who are not making 100K.
Yep.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I mean, 100K really ain't even that much anymore. Just
You're
saying.
right
I
about
know,
that.
right?
That ain't
I thought
shoot.
about that.
You're right about
100K
that.
ain't.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah, I don't know. But we could do a follow-up episode because I'm sure they're going to be TikTok responses by the ladies.
I wish
Saying what men
Tiandra
want.
was here. I wish she was here.
Oh, because she's younger.
She's 10 years younger than me.
Oh.
So I would have loved to see her again.
Yeah.
She's single, no kids, good head on her shoulders. I wanted to see what
Oh, we
her
could have
thoughts
included her.
Her thoughts
Oh.
would have been on that because
Could've
she's
got
a
the
Gen
Gen Z
Xer. Gen Z,
perspective.
sorry, Gen Z. Yeah.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
next time. We'll have to do a part 2
We're gonna have to do part 2
with Tiandra.
Yeah, and we'll flip the demographics. We'll get TikTok videos about all the ladies saying what unrealistic expectations the guys want.
And I want to ask her if body count matters.
Okay.
Because she's a different generation. I mean, it
Yeah.
matters for us, it matters for millennials, and I'm curious to know if it matters for Gen Z.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, we'll see.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for this topic. Thank you for joining us as always. You want to take them out?
Empty nest, full tank.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.